The war in Ukraine entered another tragic chapter when a Russian drone strike hit a residential area in Kharkiv, killing 7 people, including 2 children, Ukrainian officials confirmed on Monday. Among the victims were a toddler and a 16-year-old boy, while more than 20 others, many of them minors, suffered injuries. Authorities described the overnight assault as one of the most severe drone barrages in recent months. According to Kharkiv Regional Governor Ola Sinhubov, 6 children between the ages of 6 and 17 were among those wounded in the attack. Local emergency teams worked through the night, pulling survivors from damaged buildings and providing urgent medical care. The scale of destruction shows Russia's intention to terrorize civilians, Sinhubov said in a statement on Telegram. The strikes occurred as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky prepared for high-stakes talks in Washington with former U.S. President Donald Trump. European allies fear that Trump could push Kyiv toward a settlement that may benefit Moscow, a possibility that has raised concern across NATO capitals. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia launched an unprecedented 140 drones in a single night, the largest wave since early August. The drones, believed to be Iranian-made Shahid models, were aimed at multiple Ukrainian regions, with Kharkiv once again among the hardest hit. Reuters journalists on the ground described shattered buildings, broken glass littering the streets, and medical staff rushing to help families. Only a day before the drone strike, Kharkiv had also suffered a ballistic missile attack that broke nearly 1,000 windows across residential buildings, according to local authorities. Some families were forced to evacuate from unsafe housing as repair crews worked to stabilize damaged structures. Ukraine's foreign ministry strongly condemned the attack. Russia is a murderous war machine that Ukraine is holding back, and it must be stopped through transatlantic unity and pressure, Deputy Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha wrote on X, formerly Twitter. His words reflect Kyiv's frustration that Moscow continues to bombard civilian areas despite repeated international calls for peace. Moscow, however, maintains that it does not deliberately target civilians, a claim disputed by Kyiv and Western governments. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022, the United Nations estimates that tens of thousands of civilians have been killed or wounded, though exact figures remain uncertain due to the scale of the conflict. In addition to drones, Russia launched 4 missiles overnight. Ukraine's military said its defenses intercepted 88 drones, yet strikes still caused damage in at least 25 separate locations across 6 regions. In the southeastern city of Zaporizhia, 17 people were injured after a missile attack struck what officials described as critical infrastructure. Farther south in Odessa, an attack set fire to an energy facility, sparking a large blaze that required hours of firefighting. Authorities confirmed that fuel and power supplies in the region had been disrupted. Meanwhile, in the northern Sumy region, strikes injured 2 people and damaged a dozen homes along with an educational institution, underlining how widespread the assaults have become. Western media outlets, including The Guardian and BBC News, noted that these strikes come at a time when U.S. policy toward Ukraine appears uncertain. Trump has openly argued that Kyiv should consider making a deal with Moscow, telling supporters that Russia is a very big power, and they're not, a comment that has stirred both outrage and concern in Europe. Observers say the latest violence underscores the high stakes of any negotiations. Analysts quoted by Politico and Foreign Affairs argue that pushing Ukraine toward a premature settlement could embolden Russia while leaving Ukrainian civilians vulnerable to further attacks. For many Ukrainians, the deaths in Kharkiv highlight why surrendering ground or sovereignty is not an acceptable option. As Ukraine braces for more assaults, international pressure mounts for a stronger response. European Union leaders have called for increased sanctions, while NATO continues to supply military aid and air defense systems. Yet for families in Kharkiv who lost loved ones overnight, the promises of support feel distant. Their tragedy serves as a stark reminder that the war shows no signs of ending soon.